Hi, neighbors. It's your friendly city council member at large, Sarah Keppel, back to talk with you again about something that's happening right here in our community. And that thing is the United States Census. It's happening all around our nation, and as you probably remember vaguely from social studies days in school, it happens every 10 years. But a lot of people want to know, what really is the purpose of the census? How does it benefit Lakewood residents? And what does it all mean? So to answer those questions, I hopped on a quick call with Michelle King, who is one of our Lakewood enumerators.
Hello, my name is Michelle King, and I am a Lakewood resident, and I am also a census enumerator for the 2020 census operation. So the census counts every person in the United States every 10 years. Um, it's just like a basic questionnaire, and while it changes often, it typically asks like population and demographic questions about residents, such as population, age, race, ethnicity. And we do it because it's mandated by the United States Constitution that everyone be counted every 10 years in order to determine representation in Congress in the states. The results determine how many seats in Congress each state gets. And it's really important for Lakewoodites and also for all of Ohio because we are currently at risk of losing a Congress seat. So every response is very important. It's also really important because the census results help determine how much money states get and communities receive from the federal government. The more people that are counted, the more funding your community receives, basically. And that funding goes towards services such as fire stations, schools, clinics, senior centers, Medicaid, Medicare, roads, housing assistance, like the list goes on. And aside from funding, the census is important for disaster relief and emergency response time. So for example, right now we're dealing with COVID-19 and relief fund distribution was determined by census data. So it's incredibly important because when we don't have accurate numbers, we don't receive accurate funding.
Yeah, I see that with councils, we've been really trying to help like a lot of the small businesses, and our economic development fund, that's federal dollars that we get based
Right.
on that information. With the schools, they're trying to help families, and also with like some of the child cares that are like federally subsidized also. So and then of course we're building a new senior center, and we've really expanded services to seniors during COVID, trying to help them get groceries and get to doctor's appointments safely. And so those dollars really impact our community a lot.
Right, totally.
Okay, what are some concerns that you've heard from people, like that why they might not want to fill out the census, and what would you say to them?
Yeah, so most of the concerns are, I think, just based around like a misunderstanding of what it is. And I would say that the biggest concern is just like general privacy and like distrust of, giving out their information, which makes sense. A common concern is with citizenship. And I would let those people with that fear know that the census questionnaire does not ask about immigration status or if you're a United States citizen or not. And actually, the Supreme Court recently decided against the addition of a citizenship question because it would be simply unconstitutional. They don't want to know your citizenship status. That's not a question. And yeah, your response is confidential. It's protected by law. The Census Bureau cannot release any of your information, even to law enforcement agencies. That the law ensures that your answers cannot be used against you, by the government or any court or agency. And after knowing all of that, I would let people know that you can partially fill out the census. While I really advise against it because every question is really important. If say you don't want to put your birthday or your birth date, you can put your age, you can put your child's age. And if you really don't want to give out your name, you don't have to give your name either. The most important question is how many people live in this house, because that determines like I said, the amount of money. But the demographic questions are really important too, because that lets us know where that money's going in your community. Yeah, and I think that people just like generally think that it's like a way of the government tracking people, but really it's just a tool that we should be utilizing to help disperse resources.
So if you how do folks complete the census if they haven't already completed the census? How can they do that? And about how much time and effort does it take, do you think?
So it only takes 10 minutes. I will say that the bigger your family is, the longer it takes. But generally, I don't think I've spent more than 10 minutes on someone's porch with them unless they want to chat afterwards, which is totally fine with me too. I love talking to people. But you can go about it a number of different ways if you're not comfortable with talking to someone on your porch, because they will knock on your door if you haven't, filled out your questionnaire yet. You can go online. The website is my2020census.gov. You can also call the customer service center, which I have written down here is 1-800-923-8282. And yeah, lastly, if an enumerator comes to your door, you can give them 10 minutes of your time. And I understand it's a weird time to be talking to people at your doors. So if you want to just go online, you can do that too. But just know that whenever an enumerator comes to your door, I've never, been closer than within 6 feet of people. I step back, we have masks on, and yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways to go about it. And yeah, it only takes 10 minutes, little effort, simple questions.
Great.
If and when you call the customer service center, it should run you through a series of languages, and I think that somebody gives you a phone call back.
Okay.
Also, if an enumerator comes to your door, we have what are called like language identification charts. So if someone comes to your door and you don't speak English and you have a hard time communicating with your enumerator, what they'll do is they'll give you a language identification chart, and it will you can pick out what your language is. It's really long, and we put that information into the system, in which case somebody should reach out to you that speaks the same language. But yeah, also, I don't know how long that will take, so I would just advise people to call that customer service number, and they should be able to get them resources to be able to speak to somebody.
Awesome. Is there anything else you think people should know about the census or filling it out or why it's important?
Definitely, yeah. The last thing that I really wanted to say is that while it's really important for the city of Lakewood, it's incredibly important for all communities, for all of Cuyahoga County, and for all of the state of Ohio. That I think a lot of people don't realize that wealthier communities have higher response rates. So there are what are called harder to count communities, which a lot of time are elderly. I think people within like 18 to 24 that tend to be going to college or moving back and forth. And those harder to count communities sometimes are also people that lack financial resources, and those are the communities that can really benefit from the funding. So education is really important here, and people just simply don't know. A lot of people don't trust the government, specifically poorer communities that are left behind, and rightfully so. So filling out the census and getting counted is empowering, and it's really important. And just let the word out, bug your friends, bug your family, yeah, just spread the word. It's really important.
All right, so we only have a few short weeks to finish getting everyone in Lakewood to fill out their census. So please reach out to your neighbors on either side of you, across the street, in your apartment building, and let's make sure that all of Lakewood is counted and all of Ohio is counted so that we get our fair share of federal dollars and representation in Congress. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you fill out that census and make sure you're registered to vote.